Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, sometimes your worst nightmare comes from a place where you wouldn't necessarily expect, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals and pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and conversational fashion. And, if you like how we do things around here, I'm assuming that you do. You're listening right now. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can find us over at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google. It's all good. But, please give us a like and subscribe. And also, you know what? We archive every single one of our episodes over at our YouTube channel. So you can give us a like and subscribe there. That would be fantastic. Also, you can find us on social media at either Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, at either In the Seats or at It's Podcast One for all sorts of updates. And you can find us on TikTok at In the Seats for a little bit of fun. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what we really need you to do is find us over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image in general, because that's what we love to write about and what we love to talk about it, and we love it when you come and read about it and listen about it. So please stop on by. On this episode, we got a good one. We got a movie that's kind of took me by surprise, caught me off guard, went a little left field, but it's pretty good, and it's on video-on-demand platforms now from our friends at Level Film, and it is called A Perfect Enemy. Excuse me, it's Vortex Media. It's from our friends at Vortex Media. I got that mixed up. My bad. But it is from our friends at Vortex Media, and it's called A Perfect Enemy, and it's a real interesting psychological thriller. As a successful architect is approached while he's at the Paris airport on a trip by a chatty girl, just at random, really, and forces him to listen to strange stories. He misses his flight because of this conversation, but and I mean, while this meeting seems innocent and by chance, there's a possibility it's a lot more sinister, and it's a film that really winds a complex and deep little web about it that you just can't look away from. And it's from director Kike Maillo, if I think I pronounced that right. He was also one of the co-screenwriters, and it's a fascinating thriller. And we got the chance to talk with the man, thankfully, because he's just getting over a bout of the coronavirus, and we certainly wish him well. But if you want to wish him well and you want to give his best, give him your best, go check out his movie, A Perfect Enemy. It is definitely worth seeing, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. But first, check out our conversation with him, which I also liked a lot, too. Well, I mean, obviously, first off, like you said, I'm glad you're on the mend, and thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Wow, thanks a lot for the conversation.
I mean, first off, I really enjoyed the film. Can you walk me through sort of the initial idea for it, because it really kept me guessing. It kept me on edge. It was really one of those movies where I was like, I was very unsettled throughout the entire thing.
Okay, well, that's a goal. That's a goal in this kind of genre and this kind of movies. Yeah, we read the novel, the book from Amélie Nothomb 7-8 years ago. We love the setup of the novel. We love the dialogues. We love the main subjects, the guilty thing, the ghost that comes from the past, and the idea that was a very limited focus story in just two characters, one space, and well, my partner in crime, my partner in my production company, Tony Carrizos, and me love the story, and we were looking for a very small story to attempt our first international movie. And well, we decided to get the rights, and here we are. Yeah, the main thing with this kind of novel that is so focusing on dialogues is almost a play. It's how to adapt such literature thing to a cinematography, to a film thing. And we were working a lot in this idea, how to transform literature beats to moments that you feel that you are in a film, and you feel
Sure.
that, yeah, this is the main uh, objective goal when you get this kind of material in your hands.
Well, and I mean, I think that's one of the things I really loved about it, because while it's this very tight and very sort of intimate story, it takes place in such a big space, and you're very conscious of making it feel very cinematic. How much work did you have to do into just sort of, I guess, finding the right locale, the right setting to be able to have these two sort of go head to head with each other? Because I mean, theoretically, you could have had this. The whole movie could have happened in the car, theoretically, kind of thing. It's like having it take place in such a big space really gave it a different feel to it.
Yeah, it's very important that all this, as you told before, intimate thing, intimate relationship, uh, could happen in a very social space. A space that it's full of people coming, running, walking, eating, talking, but just waiting. It's a space that you can find in the airports, and it's a space that you are in transit. You are from one point to another point, and you are in nowhere.
Mm.
And this is, for me, was very very important to design all this space. We build it from zero, in a big fairy building here in Tarragona, in Spain. And yeah, for us was a little tricky to find different little spaces. How to move the characters in this space, in the choreography, but at the same time you are putting themselves in another, a new screen, in a new dimension. And because of that, we build the, the bar or the restaurant thing, or this central location where they are going to have the final conversation, and obviously the, the bathrooms. Yeah.
Now, I mean, talk to me a little bit about just the casting, because they both your actors really play so well off of one another. And I mean, it's the old joke that, 90% of the job of directing is done in casting. Like, walk me through just finding the right two people to sort of fill these roles. Because if you find the wrong people in a film like this, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, yeah. You have only two people, and all the whole thing is depending on the performance of people. So in the case of the girl, that is amazing newcomer, it's Athena Strates. um, she has this kind of, her father is Greek, her mother is from Netherlands. She was born in South Africa, but she lives in Germany. But she has this kind of international layers. She's from nowhere. And I love that thing for the character. And at the same time, she made a tape, an amazing thing. She sent us a tape, with 4 or 5 different things, different colors, changing everything. And well, when you are trying to build a character that is so, you can't understand
Mm.
what is she pretending in the movie. Is the thing of the movie. That question you want to resolve, to answer the question, and this is very very difficult. Why is she here? Why What is she pretending,
Yeah.
staying here? And she demonstrates that on that tapes. And in the case of Jeremy Angus, that is Thomas Scott, we fall in love with him in Cold War. Cold War was one of the best European movies 3-4 years ago. Yeah, was at the same time nominated for the Foreign movie in the Oscars,
Mm.
and he was the leading actor of there, and we totally love this kind of elegance. As you can see, and this is a spoiler, but as you can see in the movie, we are trying to build a character that's very elegant. It's
Sure.
a
Yeah.
serious guy, very in connection with a social goal, and he was working for the rich people when he was young, but he understand that he has to build up hospitals in Africa, and he wear very elegant clothes, but this is just a facade. This is just the face of a building, and all the whole movie is built up, just trying to uh, throw that building and try to see how is behind that.
Well, for sure. And I mean, it really is a story about perspective. And I mean, I love how you say really the whole film kind of takes place nowhere. And that really, at least to me, gives you so much more freedom to sort of play with it and sort of trick the audience and keep the audience guessing depending on which way you're going to go. And I'm kind of curious from you as a storyteller, how important is it to have that kind of freedom to be able to sort of mix it up and maybe do things a little differently as opposed to something that would be just sort of like a straight narrative line?
About the freedom?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to understand that as a director, and in this case, this movie needs to be not thinking much about money. This is a small movie. This is a very small movie. This is a very cheap movie, but well, we were trying to talk about subjects, and from a perspective that this is a house thing, I guess sometimes. So you need to feel free and to play with the audience, and our goal was to play with the audience. Then I was that. Well, this is not a very easy movie, but I guess that it's a very entertaining movie in the sense that I guess as an audience, if you are in the movie, you are working on the movie. You are playing with the movie. You are trying to understand what is happening, and if this meeting is just an accident, or and why you have this kind of model. What doesn't mean that model of the airport in the middle of an airport? And well, I don't know. I love this kind of very difficult movies that you have at the same time the sense that you are a smart guy, that somebody is talking to you from a very respectful situation as a director, or as an author, but at the same time you are this an entertaining movie. You
For
can
sure.
play with the movie.
No, for sure, because it's one of those things where I love the idea of it just being sort of set in where the film is set, obviously in the airport mostly. It gives this real sense of uncertainty and ambiguity, and it's one of those things where, as a person, when you're sitting in an airport and a random person starts a conversation with you, you're a little
Yeah,
taken aback. It's a little off-putting. It may not be sinister, but it's weird. And that's really sort of the magic of what puts you on edge in a film like this. And I'm kind of curious for you, like thinking back, is it stories like this that sort of have drawn you into filmmaking, stories that sort of will keep audiences guessing? Like, is there even like a specific film from your youth where you saw it and you went, you know what, that makes me want to be a filmmaker?
well, I love when I was young. I love Spielberg movies,
Mm.
or Scorsese movies, or Coppola movies. I love that American storytellers, classic from 70s and 80s. But in the case of that movie, I guess that Sloth was the English title. This amazing movie between Laurence Olivier and
Oh, Sleuth
Sleuth.
with Michael
Yes,
Caine. Yes.
Michael Caine. And yes, this kind of movies that only two actors, and what is the truth,
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that I saw that movie when I was 8 years old, 9 years old,
Nice.
and well, it was a pretty complicated movie for a child, but I really enjoy the movie and after that I obviously uh, saw it several times. But yeah, it's this kind of movies that is you're trying to understand what is the truth, and yeah, I guess this is a
Now I'm curious because I mean, obviously this is an English language film, but I mean, you're obviously overseas. This is a you are making some like I'm kind of curious for you as a filmmaker, how important is it going forward to try to make stuff for global audiences? Because we live in such a world right now where there are so many different services and there are so many different ways to watch movies. Like I've got to imagine on one end, it's harder for you to sort of not just get stuff made, but once you get it made, it's harder enough to get it seen. How do you sort of move forward in that process? Is it just a question of staying true to your ideas, or do you sort of have, is there like a formula to it?
yeah. For me to do that movie in English was a matter of reality.
Okay.
If you find someone out of your country and you start to talk, you are going to talk in English, of
Right.
course. And for me was an element that pushed to the main character, to Jeremy Angus, to be out of his uh, circle of confidence, or
Right.
the space that you are not talking in Polish, you are not talking in French, you have to talk in English. It's not your mother tongue, and you are losing from the very beginning.
Mm.
And because of that we decide to do it in English. And I don't know that, as you told before, this is a very curious moment. I guess that for us Spaniards and people that are living and filming in Spain, it's a very good moment to just do it in Spanish, you
Right.
know. And now for the moment we are putting, talking about Netflix, for example, we are putting one film and TV show per week in the number one of the world. It's our very first time in our history, because yes, there are a lot of countries that understand Spanish, but because I guess that the people is starting, even in Canada, even in the States, is starting to open their minds to another kind of languages,
For sure.
another kind of listening. This is something that is changing a lot. Yeah.
No, and I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And I mean, I think your film is a real interesting example of that because it acknowledges that its characters are at uneasy right from the beginning, but you're having them in English, which selling it to sort of a global market will almost put them not at ease at the same time. It's a real interesting subversion of how it's all done, and it really adds to an interesting angle to the film. And I mean, just to put a bow on this, I'm kind of curious because obviously it's out there in the world now and people are starting to see it. Like, what is at the end of the day, like what is the hope when you finish something? Is it just that people see it and people like it? Because I can imagine from project to project, like you'll have different goals and different ideas, but
Yeah.
at some point you have to let it go. You have to sort of move on to the next one.
Yeah. For me, even in any kind of thing that I do, I hope that the people uh, have a good time,
Mm,
and after that learn a little bit something about how we used to do the things, how are our behavior as a human beings. I guess that for me it's important. It's very important, the entertaining thing, but at the same time that you arrive to, well, a kind of approach, a kind of idea that you extract from the film.
for sure.
If you understand something about the guilty, how how are you doing your things, how we are trying in our contemporary time to hide our sins,
Yeah.
to we are trying to hide our bad sides, bad things, and we are just showing hour per hour, in Instagram, in Twitter, and we try to show just our perfect sides, our
Yeah.
good sides. And if you, after all the whole movie, you understand that, well, I'm not this kind of monster, but I participate or I have a kind of thing that, in a very low way, could be that idea of sin that I don't want to show
For
to the
sure.
others. Well, yeah,
No, for sure. It really does shine a light on sort of the universality of the sort of the human condition and the human psyche and just how we all can be pushed to think certain ways. And at the end of the day, it's an hell of an entertaining film at the same time. And I just want to say thank you for the time today. And I hope you feel better. And congratulations again on the film.
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time.
All right.
Yeah,
Cheers,
and
man.
I hope that the film works and the film travel around.
I
So,
think it's going to travel very well. And again, thank you so much for the time today. This was a lot
thanks
of
a
fun.
lot.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.